In Burma, the Rohingya Muslim ethnic is a Muslim minority. This group are often oppressed, humiliated, and discriminated against by the Myanmar government. Around 200,000 Rohingya were forced to live and live as refugees in other neighboring countries as a result of the discrimination. Rohingya oppression factor. Rohingya are distinct from the other ethnic in Burma and are not accepted as citizens. According to Human Rights Watch 1996, the Rohingya ethnic is a new formation of the illegal Chittagonians of Bengalis after the British colonial. Therefore, any Bengal who enter and live after independence in Burma is considered to be immigrants and could endanger national security. The government of Bangladesh has never accepted the Rohingya as their people. Bangladesh did not recognize the Rohingya as its allies and boycott this ethnic by sending them back to Burma. Burmese historians themselves have said that there has never been a Rohingya ethnic in Burmese history. The history of the Rohingya migration to Burma in 19th century was also erased by the Burmese historian by arguing that ethnicity only existed after 1950. This caused the Burmese people born after independence to feel miserable and view the Rohingya as illegal, posing a threat to them. Most Rohingya are Muslim, and their existence in Burma is disruptive to those in Burma who majority are Buddhist. The Rohingya are prevented from carry out religion order in public. Christians as a minority in Burma have also been viewed the same way.
The consequences of Rohingya oppression in Burma. Rohingya were not part of the history of Burma political independence. Therefore, they have been excluded from governance positions in their own country. The Rohingya ethnic oppression was barbaric as Burma's millions of soldiers consistently abused human rights. They were not defended and they were being tortured. The governments also did not provide this community with facilities to obtain education. There is only one school set up, with a government charging a very unfair fee. This ethnic is also poorly served for food supplies, as well as having to pay extremely high prices for all these procedures. Rohingya Act prohibits these ethnic ownerships of property and conduct of business activities that can increase their revenue.
There are 6 recommendations to resolve Rohingya conflict. First, establishment of an indigenous investigating team in the light of 2012 ethnic conflict between Buddhists and Rohingya Muslims that would investigate violations of International Human Rights Act. Second, instant removal from the Rohingya Internal Displaced Person IDP camp. Third, Burma minority policy must comply with the International Framework for Human Rights. Fourth, the Burmese army should be called by all world leaders, particularly ASEAN leaders, to stop clearance operations in the Rakhine. Fifth, support from regional governments like China, India, and Bangladesh to locating and arresting Rohingya fighters. And lastly, Myanmar Constitution needs abbreviations and requires recognition of thousands of stateless people living within the country. In conclusion, it seems that this activity of ethnic eradication has persisted from century to century up until now. The massacre and injustice that befell this ethnic group have forced them to continue becoming refugees in their own country. The most influences that cause of this ethnic suffering is religious factor. In order to protect the right of this ethnic group, all parties must play their respective roles and make Burma aware of the atrocities that they have committed against this ethnic group.